So a federal court told Republicans in Alabama redraw congressional lines for a second black district. Well, Alabama committee did so. Oh, they redrew the lines, but created no black district. They have until Friday to actually approve this. Now, remember, the Supreme Court ruled affirming an Alabama affirming the lower court decision. Right now, there's only one majority black district in the entire state out of 7. They packing all the black folks into one, likely violating the Voting Rights Act. So they have until Friday. The court's going to draw it themselves. The Alabama Republicans, who hold a majority in the legislature and control the whole process, again, they're like, yeah, we're not going to do this. We don't really care. It doesn't matter at all. We don't care at all. And so, again, you have black residents comprising 50.5% of the population. GOP's like, yeah, we don't really care about that. They can do whatever they want. This right here, Congo, again, is a perfect example of trying to get people to understand power. And what they're doing here is, their deal is, and they've already tried to change their argument in filing the appeal, hoping that's going to get the Supreme Court's attention. They are hell-bent. One, they say, first of all, they don't want more than one Democrat, because Congresswoman Terry Sewell is the only Democrat in Alabama's congressional district, and they damn sure don't want a second black person who's also going to be a Democrat. That's what they're trying to stop, which is the exact same thing that has happened in other states.
You know, it's like every last 3 or 4 elections, we've said, like, this is the most important election of our lifetime. And it's been true every time that we said it. We have to really stay on the good foot and stay motivated and fight for this, because just like what Trump is doing in all of his cases, the Republicans are going to try to drag their feet as long as possible to try to make sure that this doesn't even happen until after the next election. And the Republicans talk about, they did this great thing in getting control of the House again. They got control of the House by redistricting. And what they did in Florida, what they did in New York and other places, it wasn't this just ingenious thing that they did. It was deceitful, it was power grabbing, and they are power hungry. We have a very strong chance of getting control of the House again if what happens in Alabama actually happens, and what happens in Louisiana actually happens. We can't let up. And sometimes we just see a ruling and we see, oh my gosh, the court sided with us, and we just drop the ball and we're just like, we're all good. We can never leave it up to these Republicans to police themselves. If we don't stay active, if we don't keep speaking up, and networks and platforms like this don't keep doing this, they're going to continually drag their feet, and we're not going to have this next seat before the next election. I don't know what the Supreme Court would do in terms of how they're really going to enforce it. Yeah, they can just say, yeah, we'll draw this or draw that. But again, at the end of the day, it's still that 6-3 majority court that we have, though we're grateful for the decision. I don't trust them on the enforcement, so we got to stay light in the fire.
Well, in fact, we saw that last year. The courts actually, they say, that wasn't enough time to implement the new maps before the midterms, Julian, when actually it was. They said the same thing in Alabama and Louisiana, which was totally BS. Well, guess what? It's enough damn time now, because the election not until 2024.
There's enough time, but there's no will. I mean, they refuse to obey the law. They refuse to obey the courts. They say, we're going to do whatever we want to do, and you can't do anything about it. And this is why it's so very important for us to keep our feet on the gas. It's so very important for Alabama black folk, Democrats and Republicans. And black Republicans have a say in this, too. There are not that many of them, but there are some, and they need to be active around this. It is utterly absurd that the court would say, this is what you're supposed to do, and they basically give the court the finger. Imagine that we were able to do that with some of the cases that we don't like. Imagine that Harvard said, I don't like what you said about affirmative action, so we're just going to keep doing affirmative action. Or that University of North Carolina said the same thing. What if that were to take place? If that were to take place, people would be up under the jail. But these people have the caucasity to defy the court, and we ought to have basically the strength and the power to make sure these people behave like they're supposed to.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Unfiltered video in just one moment.
For decades, the tobacco industry has deliberately targeted black communities and kids with marketing for menthol cigarettes. It's had a devastating impact on black health. Tobacco use claims 45,000 black lives every year. It's the #1 cause of preventable death. In the 1950s, less than 10% of black smokers used menthol cigarettes. Today, it's 85%. Ban menthol cigarettes. Save lives.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.